and the topic is Introduction to Science and Biology. So today we are starting the subject biology from the scratch, from the beginning. So let's see how far we can go. So what we have today is Introduction to Science and Biology. We'll start by talking about science, what science is, the importance or relevance of science, and the method of science. That will not go into biology. So that's what we're going to treat under this topic. It's just an introductory class to the subject biology. Our reference book for today is Essential Biology for Senior Secondary School by M.C. Michael, published by Tonal Publishers Limited. And the New Modern Biology for Senior Secondary School, revised edition 2018 by Sarojini T. Ramalingam, as revised by Lucy I. Akunwa and JDC Obidiwe. These will be our reference books for today. So without wasting time, let's go over to science. What is science? What is science? Science is all about a process in which we systematically make inquiry about living and non-living things in our environment. So if you inquire into what is happening in your environment, you are studying the nature, living and non-living things. That is science. So science, but it has to be done systematically. It's not just anyhow. So science is all about, can be defined as what? Systematic process of making inquiry about our environments, about the things around us, both living and non-living things. So this science, is it of any significance? Is it useful to us? Yes. Because man observe what is happening in the environment, study what he can see, even what he cannot see. Of course, we start from the visible to the invisible. Man has been able to make use of these things around him to be able to produce one or two things. So science is very important because through science a lot of things has been achieved, discovered, because you cannot discover unless you inquire, unless you ask questions, unless you put interest to find out what this thing is. From there you can come up with something that you didn't expect you come up with. So science is of great importance, it's of great benefit to man. Application of science or usefulness of science can be seen in different aspects of life. In construction, the road you see, the railway you see, even airports and what have you, is constructed because through science man was able to get the materials used in constructing these structures, going from the sand, is because man observed the sand and is able to think of what can be built or what can be produced using sand. Even the cement, the Ingredients in cement came from nature. Of course, without cement, how will you construct all these things? So in construction, man, having studied development, is able to come up with the knowledge that these ingredients can be sourced from what is around him. And over the years, he came up with what is called the construction industries. In engineering, the same thing. In engineering, the same thing. The ship you see, in engineering, there's an aspect of engineering that has to do with the construction. Of course, we have the civil engineering. There are different branches of engineering, even electronics engineering, even in chemical engineering. All these things came as a result of man's inquiry. Man is inquisitive. Man asks questions. Man is able to come up, direct, produce something from these things lying as if they have no value. Okay, so in agriculture is all about production. Of course, man discovered that you can get a seed, put a seed under the ground, and the seed will germinate into crops, trees, shrubs, and what have you, herbs. Man studied this and was able to come up with this. Man is also able, as time came past, man is able to know that you can actually crossbreed, get a species, and be able to get another species, another hybrid, another breed that will have the features this one doesn't have, the features this one have, when you combine the two of them. And they have a bountiful harvest. The same thing goes with fertilizer production from inorganic materials in nature. Man is able to come up with that. Apart from the organic manure that came from organic waste product in quotes. Waste in quote, but in actual sense, they are not actually waste. Because man realized that this thing we consider waste is able to give great harvest. So man started using it as manure. Death, decay, organic matters. So this is because man observed. That's why man was able to come up with something like that. Of course, in today's world, in the technological world, you cannot. The phones you use in communication, the phones you use, the television, the satellites, even my being able to hold this lecture live and you're watching me is because of technology, communication. Man is able to, as time went on, discover that you can actually be here doing something. Somebody outside there can be watching you. Television and what have you. Internet. These are discoveries of man because man is able to look deep and find out what can put together to be able to achieve that. And it's all these things came as a result of what? Science. Because as man tried to inquire, ask questions, observe, experiment, man is studying the science of what he's trying to do, look into. Okay. In medicine and pharmaceuticals, those days, through herbs you see, man discovered that, observed plants, tested some part of plants, and realize that this part of plant has some medicinal activity. It's because of man's interest to study the nature. In fact, God deposited a lot of the drugs for different treatment of different ailments, different diseases in this plant you see. Is when man put more interest, if some can be out of serendipity anyway, but most of them is from serendipity. From there, trying to test for one thing, and nothing may come up. And so what's going on, man was able to discover a lot of drugs, a lot of active ingredients in this plant, not only in plant, even in animals, even in animals. Even minerals, some of them are also medicinal. Have you now seen the importance of science? All these things is as a result of what? Science. Remember that science inquire. Science inquire. Scientists are inquisitive. So anytime you are inquisitive of something, trying to observe, ask questions, you are a scientist. You are a scientist. Okay. But the difference is that this is done what? Systematically. Now, another area I want us to look at. We look at what is called scientific method. Remember, I told you that in science, you inquire, you observe. But it's not anyhow. It must be systematically. It must be systematic. It must be what? Systematic. Follow a pattern that will yield a result without sentiments, objective results that can be tested any part of the world and it will yield the same what? Results. Okay. So let's look at scientific method. What is scientific method? What is scientific method? Scientific method is a systematic approach to investigating inquiries that arise from an observed natural phenomenon. Remember I say that scientists inquire. If they observe something, they inquire. So when you now systematically investigate that thing which you have observed, that method is what we call what? Scientific method. So this is the method scientists use in their discovery, in their quest to discover, in their quest to know, to learn. Okay. So what are the steps of this scientific method? What are the steps of this scientific method? The first step is observation. Yes. A scientist may be doing something else or may sit at a particular position or may be going to somewhere and you observe that each time he passes across this place or each time it is sunny, so thing happen. That's an observation. A scientist will not allow you to pass. You have to find out why it happens each time a particular thing happens. You want to find out. So that's what we call what? Observation. So the first step is what? Observation. So having observed what that over a period of time, you try to classify it. Classify the observation. So the second step is what? Classification. Try to classify what he or she has observed. And he can even make an inference on that and try to measure it. Okay, it happens this number of hours, it happens like this for this long duration. Trying to get all these things are still part of the law observation anyway. Then you try to identification. So if he observes, classifies, make inference, measure, and identify, you raise what is called hypothesis. You raise what is called hypothesis. So after hypothesis, you will try to test the hypothesis. So what is this hypothesis? What is this what? Hypothesis. It's just a tentative answer because he's trying to give an answer to what he has observed, classified, inferred, measure, identify. He's trying to give an answer, but that answer is tentative. It needs to be tested to be sure. So, what is this hypothesis? Hypothesis is nothing but a reasonable explanation of a particular observation. So, having observed and classify, infer, measure, identify, he will make a reasonable explanation, tentative answer, make a statement, trying to explain the observation. So that's what is called what? That is what is called what? Hypothesis. So hypothesis needs to be tested. So if hypothesis is tested and is found to be true, then it will move to the next stage. So how is this hypothesis tested? Hypothesis is tested through what we call experiments. So that is the next step, experiment. The scientists will experiment on the hypothesis. So how is this experiment carried out? Experiment is carried out in a particular pattern. Of course, when reporting what to do, of course, there should be an aim for the experiment. Aim of the what? Experiment. What is the aim? Aim is just the purpose. The purpose of the what? Experiments. The next is apparatus. Here we have the materials and the equipment used in the what? To carry out the what? Experiments. The next one is the method. So what is the logical steps taken to carry out the what? Experiments. Here, the scientists will describe in detail what the procedures required to do what? Carry out experiment step by step. Step by step. So the next one is what? Observation. Here, the scientist now record or state what he or she observed from the what? Experiments. Then after that, we now conclusion. This shows the outcome of the what? Experiments and the final result. If the experiment is in line with the hypothesis, if the result of the experiment is in line with the hypothesis, then we move to the next stage. The hypothesis becomes a what? A theory. The hypothesis becomes a what? A theory. It becomes a theory. But in the experiment, that's what is called controlled experiments. sometimes we human beings may even, you know, that there's what is called bias, you know. Sometimes we tend not to be objective in something, in doing some things. Maybe there will be other factors that affect what we are testing. So if you are not careful, you may think that the result is correct. Without knowing that those other factors are playing, that there's an interplay of factors in the work experiments. So in control experiments, you prepare the sense setup, but keep those factors constant. Keep those factors constant. So you'll be sure that it's only the factor that you are studying that varies. So that's what you call the what? Control what? Experiments. It helps the work to be carried out objectively and ensure that it's only what you are testing that affects the setup. Okay, so after the experiment, the next thing is what? If the result of the experiment is in line with the what? Hypothesis, then it becomes a what? A theory. It becomes a what? A theory. Then what is theory? What is theory? You know, the hypothesis is not just the work of that single scientist that will make it to become theory anyway. The hypothesis will be tested severally, and if you continue showing consistent results within available evidence, you keep showing consistent result that is in line with the hypothesis, it becomes a what? A theory. So a theory is severally tested hypothesis. Extensively tested hypothesis gives you a word that is proven to be correct within the limit of available what? Evidence. Is a theory. Then, but if the result is not in line with the hypothesis, then two things may happen. Either of these two things may happen. The hypothesis may be discarded entirely, or they will repeat the what? Experiments to be sure that to ensure that discarding the hypothesis just like that is not or will not be a wrong step. So, but after testing it again, and you keep showing result that is not in line with the hypothesis, then it will be discarded. Now, the next one, when it is tested, when the theory is tested extensively and is proven beyond every reasonable doubt that is true, it becomes a what? A law. A law or principle. That's why in science we see a lot of laws. We see Charles law, Boyle's law, Mendel's law. There are many of them. These things have been tested. Not only by that scientist, even other scientists will test it to be sure that it's correct. That's why science grows. What you think may be correct today, in the coming years, you will realize that it's not the same thing. It's not true. Look at John Dalton's atomic theory. If when applying these 5 theories, only one was not modified. But when he said that theory, it was taken to be correct and it was used. But with time, they realized that there are a lot of things that is not in line with that theory. That's why it was some part of it we are modified. The same thing with with if you study atomic structure, the Thomson's work on atomic structure, but later the correct work that how structure of how the atom look like in terms of the nucleus position of the nucleus, protons, neutrons, and electrons was proven or shown by the work of Rutherford and his boys. So it's clear that science grows. So that's why it's not even tested to withhold the person. No, it's to be sure that this thing is correct and the correct thing is being practiced. Alright, so that is the scientific what method. Stages of the word or steps of the word scientific word method. So at this level, this is how level we can take on science, introduction of science. Let's go to biology. Let's have an introduction to what biology is. So what is biology? What is biology? Biology is actually one of the pure sciences. We have chemistry, we have physics. These are the pure sciences. So biology is a science. Biology is a science. So what is biology? What is biology? Biology is the study of life. Study of what? Life. Etymologically, the term biology came from two Greek words. Bios meaning life and logos meaning study. Bios meaning life, logos, life, logos, study. So etymologically, biology is just the study of what? Life. The study of what? Life. So that's what biology is. So actually biology, of course, when we talk about living things, of course, it's only living thing that has life. Things around us, things we see in our environment are divided into living things and non-living things. So living things have life in them. So anything that has life is a living thing. So when biology studies life, that means biology studies living things. Am I communicating? Even though there are some parts that biology has to do with interaction with our environment, like ecology and other things. But basically, that's what biology is all about. Then biology, in that case now, living things, of course, we have plants and what? Animals. And they as living things, even though that the five kingdoms of Monera, coming down to Protista, coming down to fungi, coming down to plants and animals. These are the five kingdoms. So it's not just plants and animals alone, but we call it, we say plants and animals sometimes, even though we know we have five kingdoms. So let's continue. So what are the branches of biology? What are the branches of biology? We have the one we call zoology. Zoology is not the study of what? Animals. Zoology, the study of what? Animals. Then we have botany. Botany, the study of what? Plants. These are the major branches of biology. We have other extensions anyway, by application and by interaction. We have things like ecology. Ecology, what does ecology mean? Ecology is the study of plants and animals and how they relate with their environment. We meant to start studying plants and animals, but the botany study the plants itself, zoology animal itself, but ecology studies what? Ecology studies plant and animal with respect to how they interact with their what? Environment. That is ecology. Morphology. Ecology. Morphology. Morphology studies the external features of plants and what? Animals. The forms. External features of plant and animal. These things are by extension, branches of by extension and by application. They are plant biology. So we have anatomy. What is anatomy? Anatomy studies what? Studies the what? Structure, plant and animal structure, mainly the internal structures, more of the internal structures. Then degenerative, what is degenerative? Degenerative is the study of what? Hereditary. Hereditary what? It also studies variation in living things. Then physiology studies what? The functions of plants and animals. How these structures studied in anatomy function. So the moment you start studying how these structures, you study anatomy, how they function, you are studying what? Physiology. Anatomy doesn't study function, you just study the structure. But physiology studies the what? The function. So physiology is more like functional anatomy. So this is just by extension. There are other branches because biology is extensively applied in different aspects of life. So there are other what? Branches. Okay. Does biology have any usefulness? Does biology have any usefulness? Yes. Biology is applied in different aspects of life. In medicine, in dentistry, even in veterinary what? Science, even in agriculture and food production. I don't want to talk much of that because I have already mentioned them when I talked about science. Even in food production, it's also there. And recently in biotechnology, it's also there. It has importance there. There are a lot of applications of what? Biology. A lot and lot of what? Applications of what? Biology. Okay. So let's go. Let's say also one or two things about it before we end it here. Of course, in the development of vaccines and drugs, biology has its own application there. Okay, so this is all we can take on introduction to science and biology. Please, if you have any question, please feel free to drop it on the comment section. And if you like what we are doing, please subscribe to this channel. YouTube channel is Chetanna TV. Thank you very much for being with us. God bless you.